In our very first story, the leadership of Parliament is expected to take a decision tomorrow on a petition by 3 members of Parliament for full-scale investigations into bribery allegations involving some members of the House's Appointments Committee. Together with 2 other MPs, Alhassan Suini, MP for Tamale North, and Okudzeto Ablakwa, MP for North Tong, the Boku Central MP Mama Yarga, who first made the allegation, has petitioned the Speaker to investigate the matter. The majority side is also considering calling the Boku Central MP before the Privileges Committee of Parliament for disciplinary action to be taken against him after the Minority Chief Whip he claimed handed him the supposed bribe categorically denied it. At the start of the Appointments Committee proceedings on Monday, its chairman, Jose Wusu, stated they had contemplated a suspension of the vetting until the matter was thoroughly investigated, considering the gravity of the allegation.
The whole of yesterday, I've been in discussion with the leadership of the House, considering whether, in view of the very ominous allegations of corruption, bribery against this committee, and in particular, me as chairman, whether we should come and sit here and continue with this work. 2 considerations were made. First, I was suggesting that we suspend the vetting process until investigations into this allegation are brought to a close. After consultation, the leadership and I, and in particular the majority leader and I, came to a conclusion that any such decision would stall government business, as the President needs his ministers to work with him. Then I further suggested that if possible, this whole committee be reconstituted in order that the confidence the Ghanaian public have in Parliament may not be shaken. We together scanned through the Constitution and in particular standing orders, and after a careful review, we realized that it was not practicable under our rules. It is therefore with a lot of pain that I've come to sit here at this table again, presiding over this meeting. I know that in our country, people are very cynical, and probably rightly so, looking at where some of these allegations are coming from. I understand why people may not trust us here again. But as much as possible, I hope that tomorrow, when Parliament resumes, the leadership and the Speaker will take the appropriate steps to deal with this matter so that Ghanaians will see the bottom of the matter. I wish to add that decision-making of this committee has never been deferred. On any day, as soon as we finish proceedings, when we cleared the gallery, members sit here and take a decision whether a member will be recommended for approval by consensus or by majority. This has never changed. I've been on this committee since 2009, and that has always been the case. So if anybody wants to bribe us, then I suggest that he pays the bribe before we start, because there's no room after we have started proceedings for you to influence our decision. But these are matters that are, I'm sure, rightly and firmly in the hands of the leadership of Parliament, and I believe strongly that the appropriate investigations will be done such that members of this committee, our integrity will be restored.
Now, the Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu also added his voice to the call for investigations and says the committee will fully support any such investigation.
I'm aware that the media have been longing for the Minority Leader to speak on a matter which is now of public interest, and I like to break my silence in it and to be associated with the comments of the First Deputy Speaker, that I will and we will support full-scale investigation to establish the veracity or otherwise of any matter that borders on the reputations of persons, the reputations of Parliament, including a full-scale parliamentary inquiry, which may be at Parliament's Privileges Committee. I expect that the Speaker of Parliament and leadership will take up the matter and establish the truth or otherwise of what is being speculated around, which is undermining the integrity and the work of this committee. I thank you.
The Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice says it may take up investigations into the bribery allegations made against the Minister of Energy, CHRAJ, by the Member of Parliament for Boku Central, Mama Yariga. The Commissioner, Joe Whittal, however, says CHRAJ would want to wait until our Parliament deals with the issue. He spoke on the polls.
The position we take is that Parliament is an arm of government. It has got its own procedures in terms of how it can investigate allegations of this nature. We think it would be appropriate that Parliament, knowing very well that the people have so much interest in this matter, will carry out a very transparent investigation and allow the truth to come out. Now, we as a commission, we know the members of Parliament are public officers. To the extent that they are public officers, allegations of corruption and similar kindred dishonest issues are matters that we can investigate. We know that. But as an arm of government, the Commission would always prefer to defer to the leadership of Parliament to be able to show to the people that they are able to rise up to the task. For us at CHRAJ, we do know that investigations into allegations of bribery of the second arm of government could have dire consequences. And we hope that they would take the opportunity themselves to address the issues and let Ghanaians know it's the people of Ghana who voted members of Parliament to sit and take decisions and make laws for them. We are confident that if they look at it from that perspective, they would carry out some investigations into this allegation that would bring to finality all the suspicions that are being thrown around. Failing which, the Commission would always do its constitutional duty by coming in to investigate if Parliament is not in a position to do that.
Well, in another development, a challenge has been thrown to Boku Central MP Mama Yarga to affirm his claims of attempted bribery of MPs on Parliament's Appointment Committee. Islamic scholar and spokesperson for the National Chief Imam Sheikh Aremia Shaibu says this should help clear doubts in the minds of especially Muslims about the veracity of his claim. Sheikh Aremia says this has become even more crucial after the minority chief whip Muntaka Mubarak swore by Allah he never gave out the money said to be intended to bribe the MPs. He tells Joy News' Beatrice Edu swearing by Allah is not taken lightly at all amongst the Muslim faithful.
I mean, swearing is an acceptable practice in Islam, and it comes under the circumstance where one needs to prove his integrity and the honesty and the truthfulness about an issue on which he's supposed to make a certain observation. In fact, in the Holy Quran, God himself swears, and anything by which God swears indicates that importance of that particular thing, the value and the position within the divine scheme of things, and so merits that God swears. So God swears by human being, God swears by things he has created, he swears by the sky, swears by the moon, swears by time, and so on and so forth. But as far as we as humans who are part of the creation of God are concerned, when we want to prove a point or to establish our honesty about a thing, and the highest element that we can use as a basis to be able to prove that is to swear. But what is it that we swear by? Do we also swear by other creatures or swear by God himself? The acceptable practice is that whenever we are swearing, we must swear by God.
So
the highest and the most superior being by which we can swear to prove the integrity and honesty of some position or comment that we have made or a statement that we have established is God himself. So the Prophet taught us that whoever intends to swear must swear by God.
So you spoken about what to swear by, and then you also mentioned earlier about the circumstances under which a person may be forced to swear or may be required to swear to prove integrity. But you know, there's also some circumstances where a person may be forced or mistakenly, as a result of something, decide to swear. Which is the most dangerous, to swear by the Quran or by Allah?
By the Islamic ruling, we are not expected to swear by the Quran.
Why?
Quran is the word of God. It has a mission to guide us. It contains message, and those messages are meant for us to guide us. It contains certain spiritual elements. In other words, it's also a source of prayer by which we invoke the mercy of God. So, if you like, as a word of God, it's a tool that connects us with God in terms of the guidance and the righteousness that we're supposed to live by. But the one who created the Quran, the one who brought the Quran, is superior to the Quran itself.
What's the belief of Muslims in terms of somebody swearing by Allah and the person may not necessarily be telling the truth? What could be the consequence?
Now, it's a very great sin. It's a great sin for you to swear falsely. That is, you invoke the name of God when you know what you are saying is not true. It's a demeaning as to dishonor God and so on. It also then undermines our truthfulness, even in our worship and spirit, when we want to connect with God.
Watching Joy News Prime, we'll be taking a break at this point, but we have more, especially on the vetting, which continued or resumed today in Parliament. Stay tuned, we'll be back in a bit. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, the Minister Designate for Women, for Gender and Children was Catherine Afeku. We'll be coming to the story. Well, the Minister Designate for Tourism, Art and Culture, Catherine Afeku, says she is unfazed by the guilty verdict handed her by an Accra High Court in a case of fraud brought against her by an American couple. Joy News has learned the presidency has ordered a probe into her involvement in the case involving herself and her husband, Seth Afeku. Though they have appealed the ruling, there are fears the case could scuttle her approval by Parliament and cost her the job. But Catherine Afeku tells Joy News she does not expect the civil case to stop her approval to serve as Minister of State.
Over the week, there has been, or ever since your name came up for the ministry, there has been the court case that was way back, is sprung up again. Do you think this court case will in any way be a hindrance to you becoming the honorable minister?
Not at all, not at all. What is important is there are so many civil cases on the dockets in Ghana, and having a civil case is totally different from having a criminal case. I have been cleared by Article 94 in 2006 to be a member of Parliament. I have been cleared again in 2015 to be a member of Parliament again. And it's
Why
really
has it been a big issue now?
It is not. What it is in politics, you always have to look at having friends and having enemies. It's just a game that some people will play to see how formidable you are. Can you withstand the heat? You have to remember there are 25+ million people in Ghana, and the president can only take less than 40 people to be public servants at that higher level. So if you are not strong enough, you will waver and fall down, and then you lose out. So I have nothing to hide. It's a matter of public records. It's a civil matter. And I'm actually the one who has won an appeal. So, I mean, Joy should be the mouthpiece of a woman on fire. I'm a woman on fire. a woman who has stood against, because it's very rare to have diasporans or white people come into a country, you get some judgment, and then you fight back and win a temporary injunction. Very rare. So I'm trying not to go into the merits and demerits of the case, but what suffice for you, my brother, to know is I'm a woman who's formidable. I have been cleared twice by Article 94. I do not have a criminal record, and I have never been found or charged with fraud. I have a civil case, and I have contested it. Yes, and I'm the one who has won a temporary relief. So where lies the brouhaha? I can assure you, you will see me adverting, and I'm inviting you.
I will come.
Well, President Akufo-Addo last Friday swore in the first batch of ministers he expects to help him deliver on his promises to the people of Ghana. Their swearing in after successfully going through the parliamentary vetting process clears the way for them to officially commence work. On the first official day on the job, Joy News was at the Ministry of Education to speak to civil servants there about the expectation of their new minister, Dr. Matthew Puku-Prempeh, and how they hope to help him realize his vision and aspirations for the ministry.
Even as a medical doctor, he's been there for the past 12 years. So we expect so much from him to come and continue from where Professor Nana left off. So we've spoken to him, he's gotten a vision, and we as civil servants are going to support him to, achieve that vision, mission that he's bringing to this ministry.
Okay. Work of civil servants, we here to serve governments. Governments go, other governments come. Yeah. But it is our duty. We are technical people. So we look at your ideas, we support you. Okay. We bring different ideas to enable you achieve your targets.
Okay. Well, for me, I don't actually know him, but his submission during the vetting, during the vetting committee hearing, I see him to be a bit experienced, although it's not his field. Like he is a medical doctor, but coming to this, but we hope to work hand in hand to maximize our aims and aspiration of the ministry. So hopefully, let's see what he brings on board.
Said this is not his field, but because he's going to work upon the party's manifesto and what will help the nation to grow. So we are just hoping that he will be able to fulfill the promises of the new government. We are also willing to help him so that we'll move the nation forward.
Okay.
We
are civil servants, and we expect to work with anybody being appointed to come here for us to work with. So we're just hoping for the best.
Our government is yet to decide on how much it intends to spend on the upcoming Ghana at 60 independence celebrations. The celebrations have been dogged with controversy following the inauguration of a 30-member committee to oversee the event, with many suggesting it would not be prudent to spend on the anniversary, considering the state of the country's economy. The event planning committee has announced its resolve to forfeit all allowances and remuneration to minimize the impact on the public purse. Deputy Chief of Staff Abu Jinapo also tells Joy News government is actually working at getting the private sector to completely take up the cost of the celebrations.
We are putting finishing touches to the budget, but I can assure you that number one, we are looking at any extravagant, ostentatious commemoration. That's number one. Number two, we are looking at as much as possible raising funding for whatever commemoration we will engage in other than unnecessarily burdening the public.
Okay, so how are you raising the funds?
We're going to find intelligent ways of raising these funds. There are all kinds of suggestions coming in. Some of them relate to partnering the private sector in the various activities or events that we intend to roll out in commemoration of our 60th independence anniversary. But whatever it is, the whole principle is to ensure that the public purse is not unduly burdened.
What will be the ratio of contribution between the private sector and government?
As much as practically possible. The objective or ambition is, even if it was 100%, that would be the best.
You're watching Joy News Prime. Stay tuned. We're back in a minute. Now, the Appointments Committee of Parliament on Monday resumed vetting of President Akufo-Addo's nominees to ministerial positions, with the Gender Minister designate one of those to appear. The National Women's Organizer, Otuko Afisa Jaba, was among others questioned about some statements she had made during the electioneering campaign and her position on a number of issues. One of them had to do with her contributions to sex for job allegations made against the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. Jaba told the committee she only called for investigations into the claim but did not support the claims by Asin Central MP Kennedy Ejapong.
I would be the last person to do that, because I myself have been a victim of such allegations. It is a misconstrued impression. What I said at the time that Honorable Kennedy Ejapong made the statements, the allegations, I said that Madame Charlotte, because of her position, the first woman to occupy that seat, and the fact that she needed to be like Caesar's wife, above reproach, I said that because of her integrity, there should be an investigation so that her name will be cleared. I never said that I supported the allegation or otherwise. All I called for was an investigation by the National Security or the BNI. As Kwame Nkrumah said, ake does not build a nation. My answers were very public, and they are on the internet. I categorically said that if it was me, I wouldn't be happy about it. And so there should be an investigation. And I believe that it is in the interest of women that we must be seen as people who are respected for who we are. Nobody questions a man how he got his job, but people always question a woman. But if there's an investigation, she will be cleared. And if it happened to me, I would ask that an investigation should be conducted. And so if anybody thinks that I was supporting one way or the other, I would say that that is propaganda and that is politics. My answers are in the public domain.
She also refused to apologize for describing former President Mahama as having an evil heart, insisting she reserved the right to criticize him.
I spoke from my convictions. The former President, John Dramani Mahama, I made the statements that I made as a wake-up call for him. We are building a nation. He was running for re-election, and I felt that the people who should tell him as it is were not telling him as it was. I wasn't banned from Metro. They decided that because he was my brother, they did not want me to speak. And when I talked about him being an embarrassment, I spoke in relation to SADA. SADA is very dear to my heart. My mother is a Northerner. The incidence of poverty is highest in the 3 northern regions. And for a president who comes from the north, who promised to alleviate poverty, what happened to the guinea fowls? It was an embarrassment to me and to the north. The chiefs of the north actually made that statement. And so I don't owe him or you any apology. We are developing and building a nation.
But MP for Tamale Central, a member of the Appointments Committee, Alhassan Tuyene, have disagreed in a later interview with Joy News.
There is a difference between criticism and being insulting. And I have no qualms at all with her if she criticizes President Mahama on the handling of SADA. But I have learned a new definition, and the understanding of the committee today is that if I say you are evil, it's a criticism. It is not an insult. And so I can choose to call anybody evil in our body politics moving forward, and I will say I'm just criticizing the person. I am not insulting him. I can say you are evil, and I will give reasons why you are evil, and that won't be an insult. Unless Ghanaians rise up and tell us that Odiko Ujaba, did not do well, if we accept this as the standard, and we accept her as our minister and do not call upon her to do what I think is right, then we may just perhaps be encouraging other people to take a cue from her.
Now, the relevance of the Council of State is being questioned at a debate organized by Joy FM. The Joy FM debate is currently ongoing at the Elisa Hotel, and we're going over to listen in to the debate or whether the Council of State is a body that's still relevant or should be scrapped.
And things become really colored by their vision of power. And so if it is really the desire of the country to have a full, non-partisan, deliberative body which will curb the excesses of winner takes all that you have been deploring, then let's revisit the Council of State. Let's really and we will do well. And then there will not be abolition, but there will be consolidation. Thank you very much.
Those are words that when I come to make my closing arguments, I intend to adopt wholly. And I say so now so that it is fresh in your mind. The words of historical antecedents and a forward-looking approach from Nana Dr. S.K.B. Asante. Nana, thank you. Thank you very much. Now wrap up, Mr. Osei.
I will conclude briefly, and then in doing so make a reference to value for money once more. A country with our budget deficit, can we afford to continue to maintain a Council of State whose, again, opinions, decisions, recommendations are not binding on the President, and whether or not they even meet to deliberate is still a matter that we are not too sure, even though Ogo is of the opinion that they do. Commencing 2016, the members of the Council of State each was drawing a salary of about 12,300 Ghana cedis per head. There was a 10% increment which shot it up to 13,300 Ghana cedis per head. Let's take a modest sum of 13,000, multiply by 25. We are looking at 325,000 Ghana cedis a month. That is 60 hospital beds. Maternity ward, Kolebu, they need it. Okay. So now you multiply it 1 year, 3.9 million Ghana cedis. Their tenure, 4 years. We are looking at 15,600,000 Ghana cedis. Can we channel these resources elsewhere? 15.6 million can construct 80 sets of 6 classroom blocks, and we are complaining about schools under trees, which is a matter of fact. Can these resources be channeled elsewhere? That is what I want to leave with you. Thank you.
Moderator, ladies and gentlemen, there is a place in life for radical measures, radical solutions. Abolition of evil, such as a rotten tooth deserves to be excised from one's hurting body. A rotten judge has to be excised from the legal profession. In my view, with not too much due process, but there is a place for radical solutions. When we come to institutions that are capable and do exercise a channel of communication, a channel of diplomatic effort to solve the conflicts, issues, problems of the day, we're not dealing with a body, whatever its faults, we're not dealing with a body which to the Ghanaian body politic is the same as a rotten tooth or a corrupt judge. We're dealing with an institution that needs and needs to be reformed and improved, not one that needs to be abolished. And I rest my case with that.
Right, so there was the Joy FM Thought Leadership Forum, currently ongoing at the Elisa Hotel. We're taking a break on Joy News Prime. We'll bring you international news when we come back. Now, Santehino Tumfose Tutu II is expected to name a successor for the late Queen Mother of Ashanti this week. Nanefia Kubi Sewampem was buried 2 weeks ago in the Ashanti regional capital in a spectacular display of culture. There are currently 6 persons set to be in line to be named as 14th Asante Hema. Love FM's Rastos Asari Donko reports.
Reliable sources say the possible candidates are some 6 women who were part of a procession that escorted the late Queen Mother to the ancestral village at Bremain. Traditionally, the line of succession falls on the laps of some 5 very old women in their late 80s and above. Nana Makunedu, Nana Ajoecha, Nana Masewa, Nana Abna Ansa, Nana Mapukia are the last sisters of Otumfo Osetutu. They were not part of the burial procession because they are incapacitated with age. Deep Throat sources tell Love News Menchia has been visiting them individually, and the Asantehene will be apprised of their state of health this week. If found limited to rule, the king will choose from some younger candidates, one of the 6 who accompanied the late queen to Bremain. The most widely speculated name is one Nana Kusia, but sources tell Love News she wasn't part of that group. The late Queen Mother was 72 when she ascended the throne. Chances are that her successor will be 70 or above. Whichever way, a name is expected to be announced this week. The candidate will be ushered into a ritual room to be nurtured for her official outdooring in due time. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asare Donko, Love FM, Kumasi.
Now, Islam is not the problem when you talk about terrorism. Circumstances are. That's the view of Islamic scholar Sheikh Aremia. His comments comes 4 days after newly sworn-in U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order preventing Muslims from 7 major Islamic countries, including Iran and Yemen, from entering the U.S. Mr. Trump says the decision is part of an effort to sanitize American society. In an interview with Beatrice Edu, Sheikh Aremia said it is also not justifiable for anyone to use Islam to commit atrocities.
I mean, swearing is an acceptable practice in Islam. One needs to prove his integrity and the honesty and the truthfulness about an issue on which he is supposed to make a certain observation. In fact, in the Holy Quran, God himself swears, and anything by which God swears indicates that importance of that particular thing, the value and the position within the divine scheme of things, and so merits that God swears. So God swears by human being, God swears by things he has created, he swears by the sky, swears by the moon, swears by...
We do apologize for that wrong answer. We're taking a break. We'll bring you entertainment next.